I'm one of the co-founders of Orbit Media Studios. Orbit is a web development company that we started 21 years ago. I speak at a lot of events about search optimization and Google Analytics and content strategy. But today I get to talk about the thing that I'm supposed to know the most about, the thing that I've done the most in my career. Really, the focus of my career has been on the website, on visitor behavior psychology, on conversion optimization, on getting people who come to a website to take action and become a lead. I'm obviously the owner of our website, orbitmedia.com. It's a completely organic and content-driven strategy. We generate something like 900 leads a year. We spend $0 on advertising. We are a $7 million, 48-person firm that does not advertise because we use 100% organic channels, influencer marketing, organic, SEO, social media, blogging, content strategy to drive way more leads than we could ever handle. So many leads come in, my team's a little bit annoyed, like when someone becomes a lead. It's sort of weird. The world sort of flips over if you're good enough at this. You create more demand than you can supply, and you've got only two options: raise your prices or hire people. That's all you can do. If you have more people contact you every day than you can service, you basically have to more demand than supply. So what do you do? So anyway, I want to show you some of the best practices and things that I've learned after being part of the planning process from not 500, it's really more like 1,000 websites, more than that. We do 55 sites a year, and this is year 2021. Okay. This is basically one slide. The goal of digital marketing is to take a visitor from a traffic source wherever they are in their life to the thank you page. That's it. That's the point. That's what we're all doing here, right? Is to get the visitor to come to the site, take action, learn, and land on a thank you page. So big picture, there's two numbers that matter in digital: the total number of qualified visitors that come in to the top of the funnel, and the percentage of people who come out the bottom as a lead. Search optimization frequently and conversion optimization are attracting visitors and converting them into leads. Traffic times the conversion rate equals demand. Everything that I do in marketing is designed to affect one of these two numbers, or why would I do it? Traffic times conversion rate equals demand. So you're going to see me, I try to be one of these sort of dual threat marketers, people that have a perspective of both, right? You can't just do one or the other. They say, the website is, search optimization will be the cheese and the website itself is the mousetrap. Every website that fails, every marketing strategy that fails is failing for one of two reasons. It's either not attracting enough qualified visitors, or it's not converting visitors into leads. And any number times zero is zero. So there's no amount of traffic that will overcome a low conversion rate, right? If you can improve the conversion rate even a little bit, you'll generate more leads with the same amount of visitors. So I'm going to break down this process for you. I've got a little framework. We're going to go through it step by step through each of the types of pages in the funnel, broadly speaking. Visitor lands in a blog post, they go to a service page, they head to the about page, they go to the contact page, and then fill out the contact form, land on the thank you page. That's the goal. I'm going to oversimplify, I'm going to really generalize. Obviously, funnels aren't that linear, I know. We could debate about this later. It's just a useful way to discuss these things, and I want to take you through our experience after designing hundreds and hundreds of websites and what the ideal templates should be. After my session, you're going to go deeper into the conversion topic and then deeper into the search topic with Russ. This should be fun. I'm going to go quickly, but I'm sharing all the slides and we're being recorded. So I'm giving myself permission to overload this a little bit and go fast. But I'll be available. Anyone is welcome to connect with me anywhere. Find me on LinkedIn, ask me a question even later today. And plus you're all going to get all the content and all the slides. Okay, take it from the top. Blog design best practices. The goal of the content marketing is basically to stay top of mind and to show your expertise. It's something like this. I'm sure there's variants on this, but more or less, a website without a blog is a brochure. No content marketing, no helpful, useful content, no educational content. Every page is a sales page. That's called an online brochure, which is fine. It may still be effective. You may have other sources of traffic, paid or other things. But I'm going to go through blog topic. I have done analysis on hundreds of blogs, and I can report to you now the percentage of blogs that use which UX features. 73% of a search tool, 63% show the author picture, 14% show reading time, 71% still show the date. Not my favorite feature for blogs. I think that a lot of blogs should remove the date from their blog. Calls to action, comments, sticky footer. Again, we're sharing these slides. So I want to first break down some of the best practices. I think showing faces is a great way to make your blog human. Faces, I'm going to say that several times today. Adding faces, people, pictures make a difference because the visitor has a chance to connect with that visitor, right? The site has a chance to connect. So faces, you really can't replace that. It's one of the all-powerful formats for visuals. This is Joanna Weeb's website. If you haven't heard of Copy Hackers, it's an incredible blog. Joanna's conversion optimization course is highly regarded. She's kind of thought of as this woman who sort of kicked off the conversion copywriting industry. 3 faces on top of that blog. A lot going on. It adds credibility. This must be a good page, right? There's a bunch of thought went into this article. Dates. I have If the content strategy is to publish evergreen, helpful, useful articles, why add the date? Personal perspective, dates make content look older sooner. If the content is truly evergreen and it's not going to go out of style and it's an article about how to set up goals in Google Analytics, that didn't really change much in the last 5 years. Why put the date on there? So if your content strategy is to publish helpful, useful stuff instead of news, then I recommend removing the date from the blog. I think that you're going to lower your bounce rate that way. Bounce rate, the percentage of visitors who leave after seeing just one page. Also, I'm very sensitive about these giant colorful buttons that you see on websites. They are dominant in a visual hierarchy. It's a bit distracting. Be careful with the visual hierarchy. That's the job. That's what web design is creating a visual hierarchy that guides the eye through a series of messages on the page. So in this example, I think that we need to be careful about using share buttons because they can go overboard. One of the most important things that a blog can do, one of the ideal outcomes of a visitor to a blog is that they subscribe. If the visitor subscribes, now they're on your email list and you have permission to contact them and reach out to them separately. Email or search and social, there's a giant for-profit tech company between you and your audience. Not very sustainable. You don't own your search rankings, you don't own your social followings, but you do own your email list. I don't know a single serious content strategist that is not obsessed with growing their email list, because email marketing is disintermediation. You get to contact your audience directly. So we are all working very hard to maximize the percentage of people who subscribe to our newsletters. Yet all the time you see it done horribly like this. Look at that. Newsletters, stay up to date, enter your email address, subscribe. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody do that? That's a horrible call to action. That doesn't say anything. That doesn't give them a reason at all. It doesn't tell them what's in it for them. So here is my framework for maximizing the percentage of your blog readers who subscribe. First, lay the groundwork of your content strategy by documenting your content marketing mission statement. Document your content marketing mission statement. This is Joe Polizzi popularized this. He's the founder of the Content Marketing Institute. Our content is where who? Audience X finds what? Information Y. And why would they care? For benefit Z. Specific example. So information Y is going to be where you lay out the reasons, the topics. I just said a second ago, are you news or are you practical advice? When you lay out this topic and you write down, honestly, I've almost never seen a content strategy that did not include some of these words. This is almost universal, right? Nonprofits frequently have stories, right? There's tips and advice. It's like 85% of content strategies are about practical advice. So here's ours. We are where who? Digital marketers find what? Practical advice on content analytics and web design. Why would you care? Because you want to get better results from your website. That's audience X, information Y, benefit Z. Now I can repurpose that into a call to action. I basically publish my content marketing mission statement and tell people why they should subscribe. This is the top of the blog. Why would you subscribe? It's very obvious. It's the top of the visual hierarchy. You can't miss it for practical advice about content analytics and web design. I even repeat it down below with a little bit of evidence. Join the X number of people who subscribe. That's a call to action. That's not newsletter, sign up, submit. How sad. Why did they do that? Newsletter, sign up, submit. Nobody's going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. So this is the 3 Ps. What I'm doing there is the 3 Ps. The best email sign-up forms are visually prominent. That was the huge thing at the top of the blog post. They promise you something. That is what a call to action is. A call to action is a promise. You're telling them what they're going to get. I'm specific about the topic. This is one of several times this morning I'm going to make the case for wow, that's dangerous. You see that? We'll be okay. I'm going to make the case for specificity. Specificity correlates with conversion. So I'm being specific about why you should do that. And proof, social proof, right? X number of people have subscribed. Prominence, promise, and proof. This is how to maximize the percentage of people who subscribe. Our blog, it's between 10 and 15 people per day. I'm blown away by how many people still subscribe to blogs. Very, very powerful. Moving right along. Homepage, the homepage best practices. I have Hotjar, which shows scroll heat maps installed on dozens of client websites. I took all the Hotjar heat maps together and made them semi-transparent on top of each other to create a composite homepage scroll heat map out of Hotjar. And I can report to you, for better or for worse, the majority of homepage visitors on lead gen websites don't scroll at all. Is that bad? Is that good? Doesn't matter. It's just what people are doing. What that tells me is that I need to work very hard at the top of the homepage. But a lot of people don't work very hard at the top of the homepage. They do weird things and try to be clever in the top of their homepage, and they fail what I call the backyard barbecue test. I meet you at a barbecue. Nice to meet you. What do? If you read your homepage headline, would I know what you do? Or would I be totally confused and have to ask you another question and then go get a Mike's Hard Lemonade or whatever people drink at barbecues? I can't even remember what barbecues were like, honestly. It's a vague recollection. Beer probably, right? So what do you do for a living? Oh, I prove the impossible wrong. I don't know what you do. I can't tell what you do. You're being too clever in your homepage headline. What do? I have the agility to plan for all futures. Huh? What? I don't get what that means. What are you talking about? What do? Oh, we build capacity and deliver results. Super vague, very general, doesn't make any sense at all. Why do people write homepage headlines like this? They fail to make a promise. They fail to be explicit about what that company does. They don't name the business category. This is also terrible for their rankings. Homepage H1 tag, the header, that's an important piece of SEO real estate, but they use it to be clever by saying they build capabilities and deliver results. What do? We pioneer a better way. Huh? What? Failing the backyard barbecue test. Failing the backyard barbecue test. How about this one? Online class management software. Oh, I can tell what you do. That makes sense to me. So if you're curious if your homepage, the top of your homepage, the above the fold content in your homepage is passing or failing, it takes 2 seconds to find out. Take a screenshot and upload it to the Usability Hub, usabilityhub.com, and then type in a single question. This is called the 5-second test. People are going to see it for 5 seconds, and then they're going to answer your single question. Let me give you some examples. Putting people first. How did it do? They put people first. Not a clue. Unsure. They're in healthcare, job searching. They help people with, these visitors couldn't tell. It failed the 5-second test. Try this one. Leadership coaching and training for mid-level managers. Bingo. Explicit, clear, descriptive, makes sense. Everyone can tell what this company does. So take a look at your homepage headline and ask yourself if it's passing the backyard barbecue test. Descriptive homepage headlines. Name the business category that you're in. Tell people what you do for a living. Very, very helpful. I also recommend using descriptive navigation labels. There's a lot of companies that have navigation labels that just don't make any sense at all. Listen to these. Products, learn, company, support. What? That doesn't tell anybody. That's generic to millions of websites. The purpose of a navigation label is to help the visitor predict what they'll get if they click. But if it just says products or services or support or company or learn, it doesn't make any sense at all. Why not be more descriptive, such as wholesale medical supplies? Makes perfect sense. Visitor knows what they're going to get. So generic navigation labels, same as the homepage headline, not very helpful for SEO, not very helpful for visitors knowing what they get if they click. If it's specific, that's going to be much more useful. We highly recommend using specific navigation labels. Literally, look at that thing and ask yourself if it's specific to your site or if it's generic to hundreds of millions of websites. Okay, mini rant. It's been sounding like a rant the whole time. I'm just going to keep ranting. Against homepage slideshows. Why do people keep doing this? 8, 10 different slides? What? And then if you get to slide number 8, you find out that the world's best hospital. They buried that so deep. Why do people do that? Anybody want to confess and just raise their hand and say, yes, their website is a homepage slideshow? 0% of people. Thank you. Honesty. Appreciate it. Transparency. It's a virtue. I'm grateful. Look at these things. 2 slides and a timer. The second slide says it's a great place to work. Why not just stack those messages? Stack it up. Scrolling is more likely than the visitor sitting there and waiting for the timer or clicking to see the next slide. So if you wondered, this is an article, Tom Bowen, conversion expert, in Austin, I think Tom's in Austin, who did a roundup of research on homepage slideshows and reported, obviously, what everyone already sort of knows is that homepage slideshows are very ineffective. They basically hide all the subsequent slides. There is a use case for them, not recommended. Kind of a joke, kind of true. Slideshows were invented to prevent people from stabbing each other in conference rooms. It's a purely political UX feature. It's because HR wants their pixels and tech wants their pixels and different departments all are arguing for what to put on the homepage. So they compromise with this terrible feature that is not user-centered at all. User-centered design. It's not about us, it's about the visitor. What are we doing here? So I think this kind of explains why people put slideshows on websites. If you want to see how visitors are using your navigation, that's actually available in 3 clicks in Google Analytics. Just go to the All Pages report. I could do this in, by the way, GA4. I can do it in GA4. I'm still using Universal because that's what most of my clients are using. Go to the All Pages report, click on any page, for example, the home page. Now there's a little tab at the top that no one ever seems to notice. It's called the Navigation Summary, and it literally shows you everything people click on from that page. Very, very useful. Very useful. It will tell you if small buttons get clicked a lot and if big buttons get missed. Not uncommon at all. It tells you what gets clicked the most, what never gets clicked. This shows you the click-through rate from your calls to action. If your website were a city, there'd be a highway flowing through it. Do you know where the highway is in your website? If you don't know that, how do you know where to put the billboards and your best content and your strongest proof points? Literally, rare for me to ever meet a website owner who knows the click-through rates on their calls to action. But isn't that the game? Isn't that what we're all doing here? Isn't that the purpose of these pages, is to guide the visitor deeper through a series of pages? Okay, moving right along, next page we're going to analyze, which is the service page, the money page, the page designed to sell. It's people who don't become leads before looking at this, because this is the page that describes what the company does. So for this page, I want to start with some research done by Jacob Nielsen. Most people in UX and web design are obsessed with Jacob Nielsen, and the NN Group, nngroup.com, published some of the best UX research online. And they basically, this guy, Jacob Nielsen, did a study in 2014 to figure out, he gave a bunch of websites and a bunch of people, a bunch of tasks to figure out the success rate of websites in general. Very ambitious study. Then he repeated the study 12 years later to figure out if the internet has improved generally. Really interesting. And he finds out that the main reason why users fail and why websites fail is because there's some missing information. Findability is the biggest problem with our sites. Lack of information. Findability is the number one problem with websites. So the visitor lands on the page, they don't see the information they need, they don't convert. So to solve for this problem, you basically cannot build a website to perform well unless you first understand deeply the audience by doing some research. I'm going to give you some questions that you can ask to go build a better page, questions you can ask your current clients and customers. Take me back to that first moment when you realized that you needed help. There's a true story in the life of every visitor to every web page. If you don't know that story, how are you going to build a high converting page? What else did you try? What didn't you love about it? What almost kept you from buying from us? We're doing interviews with our target audience. Starting out, what was the biggest challenge you were hoping to solve? I need to know the priority of these messages. I'm trying to build a page here, right? I need messaging priority. Can you give me an example of when this made a difference for you? Stories from the audience, going to gather it in their own words. If you could never work with us again, what would you miss the most? What's the thing that you would tell a friend if you wanted to convince them to work with us? So once you put these things together, you basically know how to make a page. Without that information, how do you know how to make a page? I don't have no idea how to write a page without those answers. Because it's not about me, it's about the audience. If I don't know what they need, what the sufficient information is for them to click and take action, right? Why wouldn't someone hire you? Why wouldn't someone buy? If you don't know that, how can you address objections? And if you don't address objections, why would this visitor take action? This is critical. I've been to dozens of conversion conferences, and weirdly, this is what they talk about. Go to a conversion-focused conference, this is it. They talk about how to do qualitative research, how to do interviews, how to elicit the answers from that audience. They know how to build a page that tugs on heartstrings, that adds clarity, that adds proof and evidence. You can also get good data just by asking your top sales reps. For example, what questions are you just tired of answering? What should people ask you, but they never ask you? What's the aha moment that people have during sales calls? What analogies do you use to explain our services or our value? Fill in this blank. People can work with us even if, what? Now I can build a page that addresses objections. If you don't know that, if this is really what some of the best conversion copywriting is done by salespeople in email, because they're addressing objections all the time, right? Go to your top rep, steal their laptop, and look at the sent mail folder. It's filled with great web copy. Weird idea, I know. I highly recommend it. So here's what it looks like in practice. So the marketer is asking that question of the audience. Okay, what is this? When evaluating the options, what was the most important thing to you? Oh, security was number one, then scalability. This is like a technical buyer maybe, right? I'm going to build that page based on those answers. Now I know the priority of these page blocks. Without that information, how could I build this page, right? Give me an example of when this helped you. Oh, you guys saved my bacon that time. Good, I just got a testimonial. That's a proof point. Build that into the page. What was the biggest problem you were trying to solve, client? Oh, we wanted better insights, not just dashboards. Yeah, you already have dashboards, but you're still not getting insights. When the next visitor reads that message, they're going to feel like you're talking to them. They're going to connect. They're going to feel like this is meaningful. Literally, like this is the key to lead generation. Building pages that answer questions and address objections. That's like 80% of the game. And the best copy is not written by copywriters. It's gathered from the audience themselves, right? You can't write copy as good as your audience. What can you do now that you couldn't do before? Oh, you don't have to run that damn report every time. Stop running the same reports again and again. If I'd missed that piece of copy, I might not have converted the next visitor. You can imagine. Hey, sales rep, what analogies do we use to explain what we do? On-site installation for your technology. It's like owning your own home. You should own your own home. It's like a house. You should own your own home. Hey, salesperson, what's the biggest number we can get it to? Well, we've got 12 businesses we work with, but they've got a lot of users. I think it's like 14,000 total users that are using our software. Trusted by 14,000 professionals. You can feel it, right? You can start to feel the difference. If I'd never asked that question, gotten that data point, wouldn't have put it on the page, and it would have had a weaker page, right? What are you tired of answering? What questions are you tired of answering? Oh, people always ask, what if they can cancel, how do they cancel their contract? And I tell them, it's cancel anytime. Wait, did the marketers put that on the website? Oh, we forgot. We didn't realize everyone's asking that question in the sales funnel. That's what happened in digital. This is the paradigm shift over the last 20 years. People want to do their own research. They don't want to talk to a rep. They want to make a decision on their own. They want to read reviews and do all the research prior to becoming a lead. Therefore, our job is to move answers out of the sales funnel up into the marketing funnel. That's the paradigm shift in digital. That's what really just happened here, is that people they want a lot of information before they're willing to fill out a contact form or touch a key on their keyboard. So our job is to move those answers, that information up from the sales conversation into the marketing funnel onto web pages. Example, anyone recognize this place? You know that? It's the hallway that connects those two concourses in Terminal 1 at O'Hare. It's United. If you flew into United or you've been in there, it's that underground tunnel. Maybe you're familiar. At one end of this tunnel, there's a shoe shine stand. I always wanted to. I finally took the picture. They thought I was crazy. Shoe hospital. Got a little time, get a little shine. Shoe shine $6, boots $8. Is that the key information for this visitor? Who's going to buy $6 worth of Skittles at the top of the escalator? People in this moment do not care that much about money. They're inside an airport. What does everyone care about in this moment? Time. Every person who goes past this knows how many minutes they have. Exactly. Right? This is a very time-sensitive person going past here. If this said shoe shine 4 minutes, they'd probably get a lot more conversion, a lot more people, right? Look, they put the hours there. Does anybody care? Oh, no problem. I'll come back on Sunday morning, said 0 people. That's ridiculous. You're on-site security. You're not price shopping. Oh, I think it'd be a cheaper shoe shine in Terminal 2. Nobody does that. You just came all the way down this half-mile long moving sidewalk. It's ridiculous. This is what's wrong with digital. Answering questions that nobody has. This sign summarizes what's wrong with the main problem with websites in my experience. Okay, now we have to decide what to do with all this content. We've got all the answers there. Answers are good, but a bunch of answers is really just a pile of unsupported marketing claims. Okay, here we go. Evidence makes that first arrow bigger and stronger, and uncertainty keeps that person from converting. Our job is to move that person over to the little trophy, right? It's like vector geometry from high school. With that first arrow is bigger and stronger, they go there, and if the second arrow, our job is to make the first arrow bigger and the second arrow weaker. So here's an example of a web page. Let's look at the claims they're making. It's like where we spend less money on healthcare. Our technology makes it easy. Exclusive features like GPS. Know more, feel great, spend less. These are all unsupported marketing claims. Anybody, a startup born yesterday, could write that exact same web copy. 0% evidence. Nothing. And you could go to any of your pages and just count the number of unsupported marketing claims you made. Most websites are filled with unsupported marketing claims. Instead of that, why don't we add evidence? Testimonials, case studies, awards, years in business, size of our operation, number of products, happy customers, best sellers, reviews. The whole point is to add, look at an Amazon page. It's like 50% evidence. I've done this. I've counted the pixels. I'm that kind of nerd. I get out like Photoshop ruler and measure it. It's the best pages are mostly evidence because evidence is differentiation. Not every company can say 5-star reviews or that trust seal or this number of installations, right? Or credibility. Awards add credibility. The problem with these awards is that they're text-based. Text is never at the top of the visual hierarchy. If you want that to be more obvious, make it more visual. Make your evidence visual if at all possible. And data makes all these claims. A startup born yesterday could not make these claims, don't have that evidence, but this site does. So that's an example. Testimonials are another great example. The testimonial is super powerful because it makes the audience themselves the messenger. Think about it this way. This took me years to figure out. We have marketing messages, right? But guess what? Every message is delivered by a messenger. And the marketer is not the strongest messenger. The audience themselves are always a better messenger. Right? So as soon as you make that message into a testimonial, you change the messenger. Everything that you write is automatically marketing. But everything that they say is automatically social proof. Very, very powerful. It's a big, big difference. So here's my elements of a great testimonial. If you can, not everyone gives permission, use as much as possible, but if you can, put a face and a name in a town or a job title or in a company. And then, a target key phrase. Yes, I'm an SEO. I've done SEO for 20 years. And a logo also makes it more credible, improves the visual prominence of the testimonial itself. But I also recommend taking the most compelling words out of the testimonial and making them into a tiny subhead. Visual prominence. I want the scan reader to see it. The likelihood that they'll read the 8 best words of the testimonial are much greater if I pull that out and make it a subhead. right? This is why Amazon makes you write a little headline for each of your reviews. They know that not everyone's going to read this big, dense block of copy. Therefore, subheads are critical in marketing. Look at this subhead. What our customers are saying doesn't actually say anything, does it? The top of the visual hierarchy here is not helpful or meaningful. And all the testimonials are inside a carousel. The most compelling testimonial was in the third slide in the carousel, and the most powerful piece of information at this scroll depth is the smallest. Scroll down to any part of any page on your site and ask yourself, is the strongest thing here also the most visually prominent thing here? Makes perfect sense, right? Is the most descriptive, specific, compelling thing at this scroll depth also the most visually prominent thing? Very, very common to look at sites all the time where the most compelling thing is tiny and the biggest thing is meaningless. Not ideal, not ideal. Quick note about subheads, our solutions, what? That doesn't add any value at all. It means nothing to anybody. The site would be just as good if you removed that. Yeah, I stand back sometimes and kind of hold my thumb over a thing and ask myself, would this be just as good a page without that? Yes, solution says nothing. Look at this, our products, ideas, insights, our customers. Subheads are very important because these visitors are busy. They're just scanning, they're scrolling down. Let's rewrite those. Our baking and pastry products. Good for search, good for visitors. New ideas from inside our bakery, right? It's a bakery, it's a food ingredient site. Our customers, I read that tiny block of dense text. Most compelling thing on the page is at the very bottom in gray text and it's very small. Why do people do that? It's weird, right? Why do people do that? Instead, it says 100 years of quality baking ingredients. Okay, moving on. Calls to action and specificity. Specificity correlates with click-through rates. Specificity correlates with click-through rates. Read more, learn more, contact us. Listen to those verbs. Read, learn, contact. Those aren't specific at all. Most calls to action stink. Most people don't even write a call to action. It's just they put contact us. Most pages actually lack, but at this one, you can see a 31% increase in the conversion rate when they added a few more words. Get your membership. When they changed that to find your gym and get membership, they had a 213% lift in click-through rates. Specificity. So the trick to get anybody to click on anything in digital, literally the trick to get anybody to click on anything, is to understand that nobody clicks until they have done a split-second cost-benefit calculation in their brain. None of us click on anything, anywhere, search results, your inbox, social streams, until your brain has done a split-second cost-benefit calculation, right? You have to decide that the benefit of clicking or tapping is greater than the cost of 3 seconds of your time. That's the game. So to manipulate the click-through rate, manipulate the psychology of this visitor, we have to make the benefit seem bigger or make the cost seem smaller. In other words, there's an ROI calculation. As light as the interaction might seem, it's just them tapping on their screen. There's still a cost-benefit calculation, an ROI calculation they're doing before they tap or click. Therefore, do this thing. It doesn't sound valuable, doesn't sound easy. Do this valuable thing makes the return bigger. Do this easy thing makes the investment smaller. You're trying to make the R bigger or the I smaller. This is ROI calculation. This is why people do and don't click. Stop and think about it. Next time you write a link, a social post, a video title, a call to action, anything, ask yourself, why would they do that? And did I do everything possible to make the benefit sound as big and the cost sound small? Contact us is not a call to action. Get in touch and start improving your click-through rates today. That's a call to action. Talk to an expert about your button text. I'm obviously making these up in like one of those free button generators. But you're not spending money yet. Just talk to an expert. Just chat. Low cost, right? Low psychological commitment. I'm trying to reduce the psychological commitment. I'm trying not to trigger the buy part of the brain, which is, freaks people out. Instead, just talk to an expert, right? Chat with an expert. So boring, easy, or valuable. It's your choice. Look at your CTAs and ask yourself if you've done everything possible to maximize those. I shouldn't even show this. I'm giving away a lot here. We run tons and tons of A/B tests using Google Optimize. And across industries, we're finding get started has a very high click-through rate, just generally. I believe it's because the I seems low. The investment sounds low. It's like, you're just getting started, right? It sounds like an easy next step, like you're kind of interested. So I'm going to break down, basically, this is my framework for the elements of a high-converting service page. Again, I'll be sharing these. I'm going to go through some of these again at the end. Evidence, faces, strong supported visuals, call to action, depth, detail, answers, data, statistics. Again, don't worry, you're getting these slides. The About Us page. Why do people click on an About Us page? They're trying to feel connected to the brand. Most people's About pages are just kind of like generic information. They don't really feel like the visitor can't really feel much of a connection. They are almost always one of the most popular pages on websites. Go check your analytics. Very rare for me to see an analytics account where the About page isn't one of the top 5 pages. Why do people click on that? Because they want to get more information. Lots of pages fail because they just talk about themselves too much. We love us. We're number one. We think we're the best. We, ours, us. But the about page, that's called failing the French test. A page fails the French test if it just says we, you get the joke. Then the next joke is, why do you we all over your website? So, but the about page is supposed to fail the French test. This is where you tell your story. This is where you brag about yourself and your history and your origin. I'm not going to go into a deep dive here, but you can tell, like, this is common on about pages. We want to, reduce food waste. Instead, make it the voice of the brand. Make it the voice of the founder. Tell the reason why this company exists. What do you care about? What do you believe? Why are we here? What's the origin story of this company? Same content, different perspective, more personal, right? That's why so look at your about page and ask yourself if you're keeping it real. I recommend putting the origin story, mission, values, put it on the same page, and people. One of the main things people click on about for is to try to see who's there, right? Who are the people that are there? Moving right along, making pretty good time. We're on the contact page best practices. I highly recommend making these pages. The job's not done. When they click on the contact page, what's the true story in life of the visitor on the contact page, they have the intent to find out maybe where you are, or they're getting serious about reaching out. But a lot of contact pages fail because they're just really boring and they're just simple forms, and they miss the opportunity to continue that flow, to maximize the percentage of people who fill out that form. This is the money page. That last click at the bottom, this is the game. The percentage of people who fill that out from here, right? This is they made it all this way. This is not a bad page, actually. Let's read that text. Tens of thousands of people use our products every day. Evidence. If you're considering moving to the cloud, you want more information, we're here to help. Simple offer, sounds kind of personal. There's no people there, but sounds kind of personal. We redesigned this page, and now it looks like this. Get a quick demo. Sounds like a low investment. It's a quick demo. We're about to learn how 20,000 CPG pros manage 10 billion in trade spend. Evidence and evidence. Is this legit? Heck yeah. No, not everyone can make that claim. Totally legit. Share a bit about yourself, and we'll be in touch when? Within 24 hours. We're committing to a turnaround time. One of the reasons people don't like about pages or contact forms is because they have no confidence that the person will actually get in touch. This would be a fun, is that an idea? We should do a research piece where we just go fill out a ton of contact forms. This would be bad for their analytics, right? We'd mess up everyone's conversion rates. It'd be selfish of me to do this kind of research just to see what percentage of people actually return. I saw a study many years ago. It said 80% of form fills on contact forms are never responded to. I don't know what the number is today. It's probably sad. Whatever it is, it's probably a sad thing. You should, at least at your own brand, you should mystery shop your own site and fill out your contact form and just see how long it takes someone to get back to you. If you can commit to a turnaround time, you can imagine how that'd be more effective. You're telling the person that they're going to get value soon. Oh, and by the way, look at the evidence at the bottom. Look at the brevity of the form. And who do you talk to? Shelley. There's Shelley. I'm showing a person at the very last step of the process. Look at Shelley. So we turned tens of thousands of people into 20,000 plus CPG pros. Specificity. Who? CPG pros. Not just people in your industry. Use our products every day. That's generic. How about manage 10 billion in trade spend? Can't wait to chat with you. Talk to Shelley. There she is. That's the person you're going to talk to. So you'll be hearing from us soon? No, we'll be in touch within 24 hours. I made every bit of copy on that page more specific. Specificity correlates with click-through rate. Just go look at the site and count how many vague things, like ask yourself, read every word, read every sentence, and ask yourself, could that be more specific? Could that make a stronger promise? Could that set a better expectation? Right? That's what this person is here for, right? Every time that you make one of these improvements, you made your site something that is more unique to you. Everyone's like, how do I differentiate? The market's so crowded. Then you look at their site and they didn't even try to be specific in their offer. By the way, that's a super easy thing to measure. And if you want to see the before and after for the improvements that you're going to go make to your contact pages tonight, let's do it tonight. Sound good? Let's go do it right away. Why not? If you're working hard in social and search and email and driving traffic from ads, fix the mousetrap before you make better cheese. If you can move your conversion rate from 0.6 to 0.8%, that's a durable improvement that will last for years, right? It's not like getting better at social media. You got to keep doing it in social media day after day. These are durable improvements. Set it and forget it. Fix it one time, it's fixed forever. Right? The percentage of people who go from the contact page to the thank you page is perfectly visible in the funnel visualization report inside your Google Analytics, and it shows that number is 6%. If I made improvements to that page and it goes from 6% to 8%, I get more juice from every squeeze forever after. I don't know why this. In fact, before you do anything else in digital, optimize from the bottom of the funnel. Do this first, and then move up to the calls to action, then move up to the service page, then move up to the home page. Probably this is where we should all be beginning, right? Start here. And then way, way down the road, we get to content strategy and blogging and social media. Because if this is broken, nothing else works. If this is 0%, doesn't matter what else you do. This is the percentage of people who fill out your form from your contact page. Okay, one final tip. I'm going to break down the thank you page best practices. I think the thank you pages are highly underrated. This is the first moment that you're communicating with your lead. Actually, it may not be obvious. 5 things should happen when the person fills out a contact form. They get an email receipt. You get email notification. They get dropped into your CRM database. They record it as a conversion inside analytics, and they land on a thank you page. Thank you page is part of the user experience. You can almost begin to call it this customer experience now. We're almost into CX. Is this page like a white glove experience? Is this page personal? Is this page helping them? Is it setting an expectation? Is it guiding them deeper toward more content? What's happening? Is there another conversion opportunity? Or is your thank you page just saying 2 small, lonely words, thank you? Might as well say goodbye. Might as well say go back to Google and find another possible vendor and fill out their contact form. That's basically what a blank thank you page does. It's like, because you don't know if you're going to fill it, are you going to even get back to me? Hey, if I'm shopping for catering services or something, I probably am planning to fill out 2 or 3 contact forms today. On the other hand, if this one looks like it was so compelling that it was telling me exactly when you'll be in touch and when Shelly's going to call me back. So again, ours is a little different. We have a very, very active content marketing program, and we also get more leads than we could possibly handle. This is year 21 of this is year 15 of our content program. So this is my thank you page today. Thanks for reaching out. A little video about our culture and our people, and an opportunity to sign up for our newsletter. We put a subsequent conversion on our thank you page. Why not? Why not? I want if the visitor wants to get our next article, they can get it right here. It turns out that almost 300 people per year fill out that little form. 300 free newsletter subscribers just by adding a subsequent conversion opportunity on the call to action. If you fill out that on the thank you page, you land on another thank you page after that. Now I don't really have much for you. I link to the blog, and maybe you can follow us on social media. I don't really love it when my visitors leave my website or leave my clients' websites to go to social media, because they're very unlikely to come back, right? You're sending them into a site where there's tons of distractions. I think that's going backwards upward through the funnel. I don't love it when people go from a sales page to a blog post. The blog post is supposed to send people the other way, or go from a blog post to a social media website. It's got too many birthdays and notifications and shoes, and there's friends are there. It's like those companies spend millions of dollars to hold on to their visitors. It's not ideal to send your site to I'd highly recommend against putting big, colorful social media buttons on websites. That visitor is not likely to come back. Too distracting. Okay, I'm going to break down for you now a website visit. The interaction between, this is what happens. This is the psychology of every visitor. Honestly, probably all of us have visitors on our sites right now. This is pretty immediate. I'm talking about today. If I pulled up real-time analytics, I could do it on my phone. At this moment, there's probably 10 to 20 visitors on our site. What are they doing? I care. I'm focused. I'm going back and looking at this. I'm continuing to improve this because I know that this is where the money is made or not. So to deconstruct this website visit, the interaction between the design and the content and the visitor's psychology, there's the 0 moment of truth. That's what Google calls it. I know I need help. Whatever, pick a thing, catering services. I need some help, and I'm either going to get a referral from a friend. Hey, Ross, who should I use for catering services? Or I'm going to go to Google search results. I don't have a good option yet. So regardless, they're going to land, hopefully, right, something worked well, and they land on your site. They went through this mini process that brought them here. Someone told them, or they found it online, and they land on this page. What happens next? This visitor has to get a few questions answered immediately, right? They're asking themselves, what does this company do? Am I in the right place? How do they do it? Can they do it for me specifically? Ultimately, the visitor in their first few seconds are asking themselves if they landed in the right spot. That's where we want to pass the backyard barbecue test. If the homepage headline is big and clever, clear is better than clever, right? The clever headline, it just says, I don't know what this company does exactly. Let me scroll down. They say they're pioneering a better way, but do they do what I need? Oh, okay, what we do. Vague subhead, but then they start to talk about what they do in their own terms. They're failing the French test, but I can kind of tell, okay, this is what, it looks like they do what I need. Stock photo, 0 impact, totally expected, doesn't affect marketing. It's not good or bad. It's just kind of a waste of pixels. Don't recommend using stock photos at all. It's immediately obvious to everybody that that's a stock picture, actually it's stock pictures of people that are a UX crime. Why would people do that? It's so obvious. Just show up any picture of yourself off your phone, you'll get better results. And then service name, oh, can they do it for me specifically? They're still bragging about themselves, long blocky paragraph. I don't have time to read this, I'm gone. Very, very common, happens every day. It's called a bounce, right? This is a visitor that did not get their questions answered. Let's try it again. What does this company do? Can they do it for me specifically? Am I in the right place? Clear, descriptive headline. Oh, I see, they do what I'm looking for. Logos of companies that they've done it for. They must be legit. Clearly, this is a real business. Immediate, quick visual credibility above the fold on the homepage. Quick visual credibility above the fold on the homepage. Maybe there's a video that explains what they do, or they're explicit about it right away. Their approach looks thoughtful. It looks interesting. I can tell. They're talking about how they go about it, right? They're not bragging about themselves. It's not we love us and we're number one, but it's them talking about their process, their approach. Clever subhead, but then details, answers to questions. This looks like maybe they can help me specifically. What is the offer? Is it express service, or is it, very premium service? Whatever, it has to align with my specific needs. And then evidence to support the answer, right? I don't recommend putting testimonials on a testimonials page because visitors rarely go to a testimonials page. I recommend making every page a testimonials page. Fill these pages with evidence. Put the social proof right next to the marketing claim that it makes. Go look at your analytics and ask yourself if your testimonials page is a popular or unpopular page. The problem is not that that you have a testimonials page. The problem is that you left you expected your visitor to see what you do over here, and then go to the testimonials page over there to see how well you do it, and then maybe click on the FAQ page and scroll down to see if you can answer their questions. That's not good web design. The job is to keep them in the flow. This page should basically be reading their mind. Web design is an act of empathy. You understand the perspective of this visitor and you guide them through this series of messages. Answer, evidence, call to action. I should have made this just a 2-minute presentation. Answer, evidence, call to action. That's basically the formula. Okay, so it looks like, people like them. Good, maybe I should get in touch. So this is the structure of the page. What do they do? Are they legit? How do they do it? Can they do it for me? Have they done it for people like me? That's website visitor psychology. That's the job of this page. Every page block, every pixel has a job to do. And 0% of it is what I want to say about me. It's basically has to align, or I won't include it, if it's what they need to hear before they make a decision. These websites are not going to sell directly. They're just designed to start a conversation by giving the visitor sufficient information so that they have enough confidence that this could be a good option for them. That is web design. Web design it's a Jedi mind trick. You're guiding the eye using a visual hierarchy to guide the eye through a series of messages that both align with their questions and objections, and then provide evidence to support those answers. Add a call to action to the bottom, and you've got a web page. Years ago, Google had a UX playbook that got leaked. This happened several times. When an important Google document gets leaked, then they just release it and say, it was always our plan to release it. Have you seen this before? Yeah, of course, we put that online for everybody. It's like, no, you didn't. I saw that posted as a leaked document. Anyway, there's a UX playbook from Google for lead generation. There's several of them. This is the lead generation playbook. This is one of the main slides. And what is it? And what are the recommendations it makes for the landing page? Clear call to action above the fold, descriptive calls to action, clear benefit-oriented value prop above the fold. I called it the homepage headline. Don't use full page interstitials. Don't remove automatic carousels. You would also call that remove your slideshows. Use social proof, evidence to support your actions. That's also something I said. Provide answers to questions that users might have before they feel comfortable filling out a form. That's the game. That's exactly what we just did. That's the process. So I saved 3 minutes and 40 seconds for questions if there are any, but hopefully that's useful. That's a kind of a turbo breakdown of the series of pages in the lead gen process that are designed to guide the visitor through this kind of funnel, taking them from the very zero moment of truth, they land on the site, and guide them down through the call to action at the end, the thank you page. The number of people on the thank you page is the definition of success, the qualified visitors landing on that page. Fun, right? You got this. You got this. Anything at all? Right there. Okay. Tiffany has a question. Wow.
So thank you so much for the presentation. It was great. I was wondering, as for the credibility aspect, people with newer businesses, how would they accommodate for that missing data, testimonials, and statistics?
Great question. So the goal is to add evidence to support our answers. It's not to have testimonials necessarily or to have data necessarily, but hopefully we've got at least one super fan from our beta release who liked what they do. In fact, this is one of the things that I would probably do as a startup would be just to find a couple of early adopter or early users and give them the thing for free, but get feedback from them. How do you gather testimonials from those early users or at any time? The mechanism for that is actually just a regular business function where you just contact the people that you've worked with and ask them for feedback. And if there's at least a couple people who like net promoter score, the 10s on your net promoter score, and they give you this juicy line of text like on the call that say like, oh, I couldn't live without this tool. Thank you so much. I love that feedback. It would mean the world to me if you let me put that on my website. It would make such a huge difference. If you don't mind, it makes you feel a little squeamish and you don't want to, no problem at all, no big deal. But so it's really trying to enlist a few of those very early adopters, and you can do so just naturally through asking for customer feedback. Anyone who uses the thing should be happy to talk to you about how they use the thing. But that's usually the mechanism for getting good testimonials. And I don't know, like, a fan, a friend, your mom, not your mom, but someone like that, maybe an early fan.
Thank you.
Sure.